What is up, everybody? It is not Friday, but it is another episode of For the Love of Football. I am back here. Obviously, we'll bring it up. It is not Friday. I know I did not stream yesterday, but we are back today. I'm going through school right now. I'm becoming a firefighter, so that is really the basis why I didn't stream or get live Friday for all those who are ready to watch the show. Second piece of business I want to address today, right before the show, is that the schedule is going to be a little iffy, going from what we're at now for every Friday to now this kind of inconsistent basis. So I will try and keep you all updated when the shows are. But football's back, and it's Saturday. Michigan just got absolutely mollywopped by Texas. So that's great, but we had two primetime games yesterday and Thursday. We have some more NFL football tomorrow, and then we have a couple more games tonight. Colorado and Nebraska play tonight at 7:30, so that should be fun for those who are watching live. But let's get right into it. First, if you aren't already, be sure to follow me on all my social medias For the Love of Football. It's For the Love, LUV of FD on TikTok and Instagram. But without further ado, I'm going to dive right in. First game I'm going to kind of break down is our hot pepper pick. We don't have to eat a hot pepper this week because I correctly picked the Chiefs to win. I'm really glad the Ravens didn't get that touchdown in the end and I actually got turned over, because I would have been in a world of pain today. Chiefs will beat the Ravens 17-10 on Thursday. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens lose a tough one to the Chiefs with the last touchdown turned over due to a foot over the line by Isaiah Likely. And let's break down this game right now, because there was a couple standouts that I really got to talk about. Xavier Worthy, man. Holy smokes. This guy is a dog. I mean, if I can just pull up my stats real quick. Right here. Xavier Worthy in his first game as a Kansas City Chief. I guess for some reason this doesn't have whatever. But anyways, Xavier Worthy's a dog. He's easily probably one of the best athletes on the Chiefs offense right now. How can the Bills be that freaking stupid to give up the draft pick to have a chance to get a guy like Xavier Worthy on the Bills offense and just hand it over to your AFC rivals in the Kansas City Chiefs, who are potentially going to go on for a third Super Bowl straight? Second set of business. I didn't know why I threw that all the way back there. I'm worried about the Ravens this year. Mark Andrews didn't seem to get a lot of targets. Mark Andrews, I'm kind of worried about, but it's week one. We can worry about that later if that's a continuous trend that we see later on down the line. The Chiefs even look better than they did last year. I mean, obviously they have a much, much improved wide receiver room with Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Marquise Brown. All three of those guys are better than Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, McCole Hart. I mean, some of those guys are still on the team. Kadarius Toney is no longer, but at least they got competent receivers that can catch compared to bottom tier receivers that they somehow won a Super Bowl with. And no one will ever understand that. No one will. I don't get it. You could say this that last NFL season was scripted, but geez, man, if you can win a Super Bowl like that, especially with that team, sky's the limit for this team. If I had to pick a Super Bowl like contender, not even contender, but someone that is going to be in the Super Bowl this year, I would put all of my money on the Kansas City Chiefs after looking what they did on Thursday. Moving forward to Friday, the first Friday night game this season in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It was the Green Bay Packers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. We have some more news regarding the Green Bay Packers a little later on in this topic, but the Green Bay Packers look awful. They look really, really bad. Both defenses also look really bad, but AJ Brown looks phenomenal. I see people comparing him to one of the greatest Eagles receivers in history, like Terrell Owens, for example. I don't know if I'd go that far, but he had one stellar performance. He had 119 yards and a touchdown. It seemed like no one could tackle that guy yesterday. And I tried to stay up for the entire game. I fell asleep a little bit early on, but I watched most of the game, and man, AJ Brown's such a good wide receiver, especially for this Eagles team. Another new Eagle that we can actually talk about is Saquon Barkley. Kind of exploded. He had 109 yards and 3 total touchdowns. I believe 2 of those were receiving and 1 of those was rushing. And Giants fans are a little upset about that. If we can be honest, there is a reason why he is now significantly better behind the second best O-line in the National Football League. There is a reason why he's doing better under a better quarterback. There's a reason why X, Y, and Z. But let's break it down. But Saquon Barkley actually has a team around him where he can produce the actual level of talent that he was prospected to do as soon as he was drafted to the Giants. And you can tell he's happy there. I mean, being back in the state of Pennsylvania where he played college, dude, he is phenomenal. And I saw on Twitter today, someone was saying, pick a player that you think is going to be washed by the end of the season. And someone said Saquon Barkley. After what I saw, he's just going to be a touchdown machine. If you're a fantasy football manager, I'd really hope that he was on your team. I have him on one of my teams this year. Really glad I didn't have to face him this week. But going forward, really watch out for Saquon for the rest of the year. Same with A.J. Brown for your fantasy managers. But the Eagles' offense looks phenomenal. The Eagles' defense is another story. This game, they let up a lot of points. Granted, there was a lot of issues with the field and how the friction was. I mean, there was a lot of people just slipping running. And it didn't look like it was a rainy day. It didn't. And granted, that's a soccer field. I mean, this is what a lot of the players want, and they got to experience that. And there was an injury because I wouldn't say necessarily because of the field, but there was an injury on that field that was an ankle injury, or no, excuse me, a lower leg injury. However, we'll talk about that. Actually, continue about talking about the defense, but still, Cooper DeJean, one of the highest touted cornerbacks in this recent draft, drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't even believe he played. He didn't do anything yesterday. He had zeros across the stat line. I don't know what happened. He didn't seem to really be out there a lot. That's a question mark for Eagles fans or just fans of Cooper DeJean. That's really questionable. However, we'll go into the injury now, but Cooper DeJean, we'll figure out what happens later into next weekend. But for Jordan Love went down with 5 minutes remaining yesterday. There was not a report until about an hour before the show today about what the injury was. There is no timetable on the injury. However, it is reported that Jordan Love has suffered an MCL injury. So he could be out for potentially the entire season. He realistically is probably going to get about 6 to 7 weeks out. Realistically, if it's not an absolute, if it's not one of the not a bad version of the MCL tear, or excuse me, sprain. However, we can kind of wait on a week by week basis, kind of see what we hear about the timetable. And still no timetable regarding that injury still. However, the score for that game, the Eagles beat the Packers 34-29. Moving on to college football. College football, we had some college football games today. Michigan got absolutely blown out by number 3 Texas. Michigan is not making the playoffs this year. Sorry, they're not. But here's the thing. I'm gonna continue on this Michigan train, but Dave Portnoy, graduate of the University of Michigan, big Michigan supporter, especially last year when they won their national championship. He claimed that the 2023 University of Michigan football team was better than the 2019 Louisiana State University team. LSU, Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, that whole 2019 roster is full of NFL talent. Most of those guys are currently in the NFL. Here is his quote. This Michigan team would have beat them by 40, them meaning LSU. If I could have McCarthy over Burrow, I'm taking McCarthy. Here's the thing behind that. J.J. McCarthy didn't throw the ball like Joe Burrow. J.J. McCarthy didn't win a Heisman like Joe Burrow. J.J. McCarthy didn't have the wide receivers Joe Burrow had. J.J. McCarthy didn't have the potential number 1 receiver in the current NFL as a wide receiver. You know who did? Joe Burrow did. Joe Burrow had Justin Jefferson. Joe Burrow had Jamar Chase. Joe Burrow just completely dominated the college football space. Yes. Did Michigan go undefeated? Yes. I mean, that's an undisputed fact. However, if realistically, if you're going to claim that, you got to have some support or reasoning why you're picking J.J. McCarthy over Joe Burrow. And I wish I would have known really deep down what he was thinking in that situation, because you have to be stupid. You have to be stupid to make that kind of conversation relevant. That, the 2023 Michigan, there are several teams, several Ohio State teams that were better than the last year's Michigan team. There are several Alabama teams that are better than the last year's Michigan team. The greatest college football team of all time is the 2019 LSU team, and it's undisputed. There's no doubt in my mind. Joe Burrow had to go through more competition in the college football playoffs than J.J. McCarthy and the Michigan Wolverines had to. Yes, did J.J. McCarthy beat Jalen Milroe and Nick Saban? Yeah, but did they really belong there? No. Who else did they beat? Second round, they beat Washington to make it to, well, no, they beat Washington in the national championship. But man, Washington was great all year, but they were not on the caliber that Clemson, Trevor Lawrence and Clemson were, or Jalen Hurts and Oklahoma were. It's undisputed. There's no doubt that team was better than Michigan. Anyways, I'm done with the rant. We'll move on here. LSU lost to USC. I'm going to kind of break down the kind of my perception of what happened during that game after. But Nebraska versus Colorado, like I mentioned earlier, tonight at 7:30. That's probably my game of the week right there. That's going to be a fun week. That's going to be a fun game, excuse me. Especially with Dylan Raiola kind of coming out of nowhere. I believe he's a true freshman this year. So going against Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes, I'm excited. I've never really watched a Nebraska game. I've never had a reason to watch a Nebraska game, but I'm just seeing highlight plays out of this kid that this kid looks like Patrick Mahomes. Not even like on a football stance. His haircut is like Patrick Mahomes. It's kind of funny, actually. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to review that game with you guys next either Friday or Saturday, depending on my schedule. But going back to LSU and USC, LSU loses honestly a heartbreaker. That was a great game until probably the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. I believe it was a complete lapse of judgment by Brian Kelly and that coaching staff. They had 3 timeouts and didn't use a single one of them in that last 2 minutes. Here's the thing. If they would have used even one of those timeouts, they would have had more than the time that they had, which was 8 seconds left in the game, to even have a chance to throw the ball and score and win. Instead, what they did, Brian Kelly decided to go out and say that the coaches on the sideline had already felt like they lost the game. No, Brian, you don't know what's crazy? You're called the head coach for a reason. You can still make decisions on the football field, even if it's a timeout. Anybody can make the decision of a timeout that has somewhat of a football brain. Garrett Nussmeier looked like a great talent. Kyren Lacy, mind you, even though they lost, Kyren Lacy is going to be one of the top probably one of the top prospects as a wide receiver going into this upcoming NFL draft. I believe he is a junior. Let me double check that. He is a senior. So yes, he is going to the NFL draft. There's no doubt in my mind that he goes. He was making catches that were Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson-esque. And I was impressed through and throughout that entire game. But Brian Kelly needs to get out of LSU. He is since 2019, LSU has lost every single week 1 opener. 3 of those being with Brian Kelly. I'm just saying, losing games like that. I mean, yes, last year they had great talent with Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Jaden Daniels. I mean, they have several returners this year in Harold Perkins Jr., Brian Kelly's not a good coach. He's not. He hasn't been a good coach. He wasn't a good coach with Notre Dame. He has not been a good coach with LSU. Yes, he has had 1 Heisman winner. However, Jaden Daniels was on a whole nother level. Jaden Daniels was also 5th year. He had competition. Jaden Daniels was probably the best player he's developed in college. But you see constantly that LSU has lost college talent or incoming college talent to other bigger SEC or other not bigger SEC schools, because LSU is probably number 2 on all of the SEC lists. But they're losing college recruits because it seems like Brian Kelly doesn't know what to do. I'm sorry, Brian Kelly needs to get out of Louisiana. He needs to go because he's single-handedly ruining that program. He is. There's no reason you should have lost that game. None. There's none. There isn't. There is zero zip nada. None. No reason that they shouldn't have used one of those 3 timeouts. And go and blame your coaching staff about having a losing mentality? That's a joke. That's a joke. I could have done a better job coaching. Like, let's be honest. I could have. I single-handedly could have. It's 4-year-olds in Madden could have probably done a better job calling a timeout. Let's be honest. Anyways, we're probably going to cut this show a little bit short today just because of my time constraints on what I'm doing today. However, I have 2 more topics today. One of them being what we're going to talk about right now. The week 1 predictions going into the weekend. I'm actually going to pick another hot pepper pick for this week, just that because I think it's fair going into next week. So game 1, I'm going to start I have a list here. It's just from Google, but I'm going to go down the list, pick who I want to win, and I'll let you know when I get to my hot pepper pick. All right, game 1, Panthers versus Saints. I believe this is in Louisiana. Let me double check. Yes, it's in Louisiana. So, this is a tough one because both these teams are bad. I see a lot of love for Chris Olave going into the season. Alvin Kamara is going to be healthy all year. I have the New Orleans Saints just because they're in New Orleans. That's one of the hardest stadiums to play in. So I have the New Orleans Saints winning that game. Then we go into Giants and Vikings. I believe they're in New York. Honestly, surprise I think it's going to be the Giants. I think Giants win that game. I think the Giants have a better defense. I think they have a better offense, but you can't really put them. Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold on that same tier. So what's going to carry the Giants throughout this game is going to be their defense. And I mean Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, two of the better defensive players in the league. So we can go on, and I'm gonna I'd say this was probably my hot pepper pick, but I'm not gonna claim that because it very well they could lose. So I'm gonna claim the Giants. Then the next game, Patriots Bengals. Bengals are walking away with this game. They are. Not much to talk about there. Patriots are a rebuilding team. There's not really much going on about their team. They've lost a lot of people. They have Jacoby Brissett starting. They don't even have their rookie quarterback starting. I think that's going to be the Patriots are, I believe, predicted to have one of the lowest records in the NFL this season. So we'll see. I mean, the Bengals are going to walk away with this game. Steelers Falcons. Russell Wilson is out, or potentially out. He injured his foot. I don't remember exactly the injury, but Falcons are a whole different breed. They really beefed up this offseason. So I'm looking forward to a situation with the Falcons. I'm looking forward to them as a team this year. So I'd say the Atlanta Falcons are going to win this game. Huge game from Drake London. Texans Colts. Texans are going to win this game. CJ Stroud has probably the best wide receiver room in the NFL. So we can look forward to that, especially, oh my God, the amount of talent that they have just grabbed. What was his name? From the Vikings. Who's the guy? I keep on forgetting his name. Who did the Texans get in free agency? I keep on forgetting his name. Danielle Hunter. Danielle Hunter from the Vikings. He is now with the Houston Texans, one of the best defensive players in the league. Joe Mixon is now on the Houston Texans. They're easily a Super Bowl contender this year. Arizona Cardinals, Buffalo Bills. You know what's crazy? That's my hot pepper pick. I have, I really don't want to eat a hot pepper, but I have the Buffalo Bills winning this game. I do. I would want to pick the Cardinals, but I think the Bills are going to win this game. And I think I'm so sure about that is my hot pepper pick. And I'm going to have to watch this game because it's at 1:00. So let me write this down. Buffalo Bills are the hot pepper pick of the week. So let's all watch the game together and hope that for you to hope that I eat a hot pepper because that's fun, not for me. Titans Bears. I have the Bears winning this game. I have been really high on Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears and what they've done this offseason. I'm not excited about this Tennessee Titans team. I'm not. They have had significant grabs in free agency with Calvin Ridley on offense. Tony Pollard at running back from the Dallas Cowboys. There's not really much there. I mean, they lost so much defensive talent in the past couple of years. I'm just whatever. All right, we can move on. Chicago Bears walk away with a win this week. Next game is in Florida because both teams are from Florida. The Jacksonville Jaguars and Miami Dolphins. I have the Dolphins winning this game. Shout out my boy Byron. Tyreek Hill and Tua and Jalen Waddle and Devin Achane. Those guys are pillars on their offense. Honestly, I mean, if Tyreek's having a bad game, you can throw it to Jalen Waddle and they'll have just as good of a game because Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are very, very similar players. So we can go into that game. I think that's going to be a pretty it could be a high scoring game depending how the Jaguars defense plays up. But yeah, I think the Dolphins are winning that game. Broncos, Seahawks. I have the Broncos winning this game. I think Bo Nix is really going to show out. I know I haven't been super positive about Bo Nix, but he doesn't have really receivers. And I think the Seahawks with Geno Hill are going to really have a decline this year. They had somewhat of a decline last year, and I think it's going to continue, honestly. Raiders, Chargers. These are two really bad teams. Granted, both of them are kind of rebuilding. Raiders don't even have a quarterback, really. I mean, Gardner Minshew is good, but he's not on the tier of Justin Herbert. I'm going to have to go to the Chargers here. Browns and Cowboys. Gosh, I hope the Browns win. I do. I'm tired of seeing the Cowboys. I'm done. No more, please. Cowboys are losing. Honestly, if we want to be honest with ourselves, the Cowboys are losing 40-0. Bye-bye. They're not actually going to lose 40-0. That was a joke. But gosh, I hope they do lose 40-0. Commanders, Buccaneers. I have the Commanders winning this game. I think Jaden Daniels is going to arise as a early Rookie of the Year favorite. But Baker Mayfield, I'm intrigued because he's had a record of every other year he's kind of sucked. So we'll see. We'll see how he does this season. I think there's more questions around that Buccaneers team right now than the Washington Commanders have. Especially with how much talent the Commanders have had increased on their defense. I have the Commanders beating the Bucs this week. And then we have two primetime games tonight, or not tonight. It is Saturday. It's tomorrow. We have the Rams and Lions and Jets and 49ers. We will go through the Rams and Lions. This is probably going to be the best game of the week. This honestly might be. Rams Lions repeat. It's Stafford Goff number 3. On the teams they were traded for, obviously. But I have the Detroit Lions coming out on top in Ford Field. That Ford Field is going to be the loudest stadium in the NFL this week. It is, without a doubt. And Jared Goff is going to have his name chanted so much, even if they have a farewell video for Matthew Stafford or thank you for everything, Matt. Matt, you didn't do anything in Detroit. Sorry. Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions are the best team in the NFC. So, granted, I think the Rams offense is very good. I think Puka Nacua, I think Cooper Kupp, I think Matthew Stafford are all great players. I think Kyren Williams kind of has a question mark behind him. I think Kyren Williams is very similar to Josh Jacobs in the inconsistency potential from season to season. Josh Jacobs could, for example, I'll break it down. Josh Jacobs one season could have 800 yards, and the next season he could be the top rushing leader like he's had in the past. So I think Kyren Williams might have a really large decline in production this year. So I think we're going to see a little more Blake Corum. Drafting Jared Verse is a phenomenal grab for them to replace Aaron Donald. They traded one of their linebackers away earlier, so I mean the Lions are just a way more complete team than they are. I have the Lions winning just based on the improvement year after year after year from Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. I think there's not a lot of negatives to really say about this team. As you could maybe say the youth on their secondary or even their wide receiver room right now. That's probably their biggest weakness is their wide receiver room, just because you're kind of relying on Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. And obviously you have Sam Laporta there to help back up as a pass catcher. But, there is obviously a chance that the Detroit Lions could get absolutely shafted. But I have the Lions winning. Jets and Niners. This is going to be a fun game. I don't think it's going to be the best game of the week, but I think it's going to be a fun game. Aaron Rodgers is back. Garrett Wilson has his quarterback. Garrett Wilson might have a great season this year. Who knows? Breece Hall is projected to have a massive season this year. Jets have also improved their O-line. 49ers have kind of stayed stagnant from last year. Not a lot of improvement. I believe they lost a few people in free agency. I'm going to go crazy. I think the Jets are winning this game. I do. I think the Jets are an up-and-coming team. I think Aaron Rodgers is the right quarterback to have right now for this rebuilding team. Not rebuilding, but you know what I mean. Anyways, for that game, I have the Jets winning. But that is all I have for that section. Let me know if you have any disagreements about any of these, or if you want me to even further break down any of these. However, I'm going to move on to our last topic of the day because I'm kind of rushing to get this kind of in 35 minutes. So what we're doing is Marvel characters as Marvel characters as NFL players. So basically, I'm going to break down. I'm a huge Marvel fan. I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've grown up with it. So I think it'd be fun to kind of break down who would be a good quarterback, who would be a good wide receiver. So I have a list here, and I'm going to write it down. So my quarterback, if I was to pick an Avenger or X-Men, I think the best quarterback could be either Hawkeye or Bullseye. I don't know if anybody knows who Bullseye is, but Bullseye was in the recent Daredevil series. But Hawkeye, I think, would be fairly good. I mean, that in the Age of Ultron, Civil War, he claimed that he hit an 18 in 18 holes in golf. He's very accurate. He can pretty much do anything with the trajectory of an object. So I think he'd be a solid quarterback for this team. Running back, I think the Hulk would be a really fun running back. He would be a Derrick Henry. Because just the more he would have those angry runs that he could just run through everybody. And Hulk would be a great running back. Let's be honest. I would put him and maybe the Juggernaut at second because for those who don't know, the Juggernaut has to gain momentum to kind of be an unstoppable force. So if he's running behind an offensive line and gaining kind of that momentum, he's going to be kind of stopped. He can't be stopped. All right, wide receiver 1. Spider-Man. It's got to be Spider-Man. I mean, the guy can shoot webs. He can pretty much jump as high as he wants to. Spider-Man is my wide receiver 1. Probably going to be the greatest wide receiver in NFL history. Wide receiver 2. Oh, this is a tough one. Do I want to go? I'll say Miles Morales. Miles Morales could be wide receiver 2. We have 2 Spider-Men at wide receiver. I think that's a very solid duo, similar to a Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill situation. I think that's going to be fun. In our wide receiver 3, if you have a pick for your wide receiver 3 as a Marvel character, let me know. I'm going to go, do I want to pick Iron Man? Or is there another? Here's the thing. I feel like Iron Man would kind of be a cheat code because he can fly. And if you could fly and catch a ball that's 70 feet in the air, you really have to have another guy that can fly. This is a tough one. Wide receiver 3. We'll go Iron Man. It's really the only person I can think about at the top of my head. Iron Man at wide receiver 3. Tight end. I'm between 2, and I want the chat to let me know what they think. Tight end, I either have Venom or Captain America. I don't know, and that's the tough part is that I do not know. Why can't I get my mouse back? Anyways, we'll figure that out later. Tight end, I'm gonna go Venom just because he has similar attributes to Spider-Man. He's a big guy. I think he has the ability to be a very solid pass catcher. I think Captain America would be very solid, maybe on more of the defensive side of the ball. However, yeah, I think Venom's a solid pick. O-line. 5 O-linemen. We can kind of break that down pretty easy. I think at center, who would be good center? The Thing. I think this Thing at center would be good. We got the Blob at right guard. If nobody knows who the Blob is, the Blob was in X-Men Origins Wolverine, the really fat guy. So he pretty much can't let his body absorbs any type of contact. Oh, you know who I'm gonna change this. You know who I'm gonna put at wide receiver 3? Black Panther. Black Panther would be a great wide receiver 3. A phenomenal wide receiver 3. All right, Blob, Thing, Abomination. We'll put Abomination at O-line. Who else? Who's a really big guy? Red Hulk. Red Hulk would be cool. And we need one more big dude. It'd be funny to have Galactus. Just have a guy that's bigger than your entire football field. Here's the thing. We could go 2 different directions with this. We could go Ironmonger or here's the thing. What do I want to pick? What do you think? What does the chat think? What's up, McKalen? How are you doing, brother? Blob, Thing, Abomination, Red Hulk. We need one more. I need a big guy. Really big guy. If you have an idea for an offensive lineman as a Marvel character, geez, there's so many. There's so many good ones that I could pick. You know, we'll pick. I think this is a good spot for Captain America. Captain America at O-line. I mean, he's not. Oh no, Thor. I'm sorry, Thor. Bam. That's our offense. So our offense is quarterback, Hawkeye, running back, the Hulk, wide receiver 1, Spider-Man, wide receiver 2, Miles Morales, wide receiver 3, Black Panther, tight end, Venom. O-line is Blob, Thing, Abomination, Red Hulk, and Thor. And then we're going to go to our defense. So we're going to go DBs. So that's our safeties and cornerbacks. Ooh. I think we got to put Iron Man here. I think that's only fair. Because we kind of booted him from the wide receiver spot. I think it would be... just because he can fly, I think it'd be really good. I think Scarlet Witch could be really good. I think she could manipulate the way the ball moves and kind of pretty much force it to come to her. We'll put that. So that's our cornerback 2, cornerback 3. We'll put Captain Marvel at safety. And then, so we have our 2 corners. We have 1 safety. I need fast people. I need really fast. I don't want. That's too obscure. Falcon. I think Falcon would be a phenomenal cornerback. Or honestly, safety. We'll put him at safety with Captain Marvel. And then cornerback 3. I'm trying to think. Human Torch. I think Human Torch would be a good one. All right. Linebackers for Marvel characters. Okay, we'll put Captain America here. Captain America at linebacker, and then we'll have a second linebacker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Linebacker 2. What do we think? Linebacker 2. We need a big guy. I mean, not really big, but this would have been a good spot for Thor. But War Machine. We'll put War Machine. I think that would be fun. Then defensive line. This is getting tough because we're running out of characters. Wolverine. Wolverine at defensive line would be fun. McKinnon, you're drinking with the boys. That's fun. That is fun. Hello. Wolverine. We're gonna pick Sabretooth just because chemistry. Defensive line. Shit. This is tough. This is I didn't think this was gonna be that hard, but this is hard. This is very difficult. And I'm not having a good time. I'm kind of having a good time, but it's okay. Defensive line. We need help. Defensive line. Shiitake mushrooms. All right, we're going to Google. Share screen. All right, am I visible? Cool, we're visible. Marvel characters. Wolverine. Iron Man. Iceman. No. I need a big... Ooh. She-Hulk. That's a good one. She-Hulk. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. A to Z. Why are we doing this? This is so dumb. All right. All right, come on. This is really not going to load. I wish it would show me. I like this. I want to see more of that, but I can't because I have to look. Shiitake mushrooms. Beast. We're just kind of finding big characters to. All right. Last character. Then we got to pick our coaches, and then I'm done with the show for today. Oh, Cannonball. Here we go. For those who don't know who Cannonball is, basically his abilities, he turns into essentially. I'm going to stop sharing. He turns into a literal cannonball. Not literally, but he turns into a force, like Nova. But he can run through the offensive line and just pretty much sack the quarterback very quickly. So Cannonball. It's super obscure, I know, but that's fun. I like that pick. All right. We'll pick head coach, offensive coordinator, or we'll pick head coach. Actually, no, we're going to pick head coach, offensive, and defensive coordinator. So head coach, I think Magneto would be a really good head coach. Here's my reasoning behind that. Magneto, if you watch the X-Men 97 series, he was able to motivate the entire X-Men to follow his lead and realize that he was right about the mutant movement, about how that humans were never going to follow a mutant or whatever. He could change the way people believe just by the way he speaks. That's why I think I would have picked him over a guy like Charles Xavier, over a guy like Captain America. I think Magneto would be a phenomenal head coach. He would be kind of one of those coaches that's retired, like a retired football player. So I think that'd be fun. Offensive coordinator. We need a guy that is really smart at reading or just knowing the other playbook. And I think that's where we put Charles Xavier or Professor X. I think Charles Xavier at offensive coordinator, he could pretty much read the mind of the other side of the field and see what they're calling on defense and be like, yeah. And that could honestly make him a phenomenal defensive coordinator. Like, he could honestly be both ways. But defensive coordinator, I have Doctor Strange. Shout out the Avengers movies. He saw every possibility where they would win and lose, and he saw one. So he could find what to do in a situation on defense and find how to be the most dominant defense in the league. And he could scheme his team the way he wants to based off of the probability of just what works in certain situations and having a certain guy somewhere. That's going to work out phenomenally. All right. To break it down, here is my Marvel team. And I'll make a graphic of this and post it online. At quarterback, Hawkeye. At running back, the Hulk. Wide receiver 1, Spider-Man. Wide receiver 2, Miles Morales. Wide receiver 3, Black Panther. Tight end, Venom. O-line, Blob, Thing, or The Thing, Abomination, Red Hulk, and Thor. Defense, Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, Captain Marvel, Falcon, Human Torch are all our defensive backs. Linebackers, Captain America and War Machine. Defensive line, Wolverine, Sabretooth, She-Hulk, Beast, and Cannonball. And then our coaches are Magneto, Charles Xavier, and head coach Magneto, offensive coordinator Charles Xavier, and defensive coordinator Dr. Strange. That is the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Please, it helps me out. It helps me see where you are all enjoying the show. Please leave a comment on what you have enjoyed so far in the show. If you like this on the Saturday rather than a Friday, let me know. I can change that. Depending if when I future get a job, that's way later down the line, and we can figure that out then. But yeah, subscribe, like, send this to a friend, and then go follow me on my Instagram and TikTok for the love of football, for TheLuvofFB. That was a tongue twister. All right, hold on. Hold on. We can figure it out. Banners. Nope. Here we go. Show. I guess it's showing my name. Anyways, who cares? Oh, Lord. This is a really bad way to end the show. But anyways, like, subscribe, share to a friend, follow me on Instagram and all social medias that I have. And yeah, tell your friend about For the Love of Football, because football is for everybody. Have a great night.